to the winner of Florida State, Georgia Tech, which is, of course, Saturday. We are almost here, almost about to kick off the college football season, and we do it with our beloved Noles. And it should be pointed out, today is the first of what is going to be a string of awesome Thursdays. Redemption Thursday is back. Now, it was slim pickings, I got to tell you, slim pickings when it came to the games. I can't force these wagers, Tom, just because we're excited about them, just because we're excited the season's back. But I can certainly lay some out there for you, and I have a few, and there will be a few. I mean, I think Director Matthew will have the opportunity to have fun with the memes and the GIFs.
Okay, well, yeah. I was wondering maybe if you added a table tennis parlay to the action this week, something of that nature. The Warchant TV audience came in just after because the music was playing.
Yeah.
But this is the game trophy behind us, made by Waterford, as one would imagine here in Ireland, Waterford Crystal. It's a one-piece trophy. It's got a decent weight to it. I wasn't allowed to touch it or move it from to and fro.
I'll turn around and touch it.
I don't know. Actually, they took the security detail off, which they were supposed to keep on.
We have a security guard here.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's a one-piece trophy. The football does not come off the top. Hopefully that's ours on Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon back in the States.
To the trophy case.
But, buddy, this looks way, way better than the national championship trophy, which I think is just totally underwhelming. Waterford used to make the crystal ball for the Sears trophy or what the BCS national championship trophy. They used to make it, and this is a much finer prize.
So last year we went to Waterford, and I got to sculpt and actually do some things, which we had on video.
To blow some glass.
Got to blow some glass, got to do some things. I got to etch, more importantly, with the little spinny wheel thing. I don't know what it's called. I sound so uneducated, but anyhow, I used it.
You engraved.
Yeah. I did the whole thing. It was fantastic. And the way it was set up, I was thinking I was going to cut my finger off, and the guy's like, no, you can't. Go like this, do it. And I was like, oh, my goodness, but I did, and he's right.
You trusted him.
Well, okay. I didn't have a choice. He grabbed my hand. But, it was hilarious. But anyhow, we did that and had a good time. But anyhow, that is the trophy right behind us. So if you're watching on Warchant TV, we appreciate you. Thanks for doing that. And there it is. It's hopefully what Mike Norvell and crew is holding up after the game on Saturday. But I will say this is a proper, as I've said, Irish evening here. As it is overcast, it is damp, and it is nice. Chilly, nice and chilly. Perfect day.
There's a nice chill in the air. We were going to be out and about near the circle where they parade the horses before each race, but because of impending weather for the next couple of hours, we are in the stables, the historic stables of Leopardstown Racecourse, just off to the side here, and you can feel the history, the importance of horse racing. This is
a country that loves horse racing. I found that out firsthand last year. I never realized just how proud they are of what it is they've accomplished in the sport of horse racing. They have numerous horses that, if you will, are in their Hall of Fame, retired, where they'll talk about their prowess in the States. And they bring the horses overseas. They bring them in. They've raced. They've had winners at every major track. They're very proud of that. And this track here is simply beautiful.
Yeah, the interesting thing, too, logistically, if anybody's making their way over, they're watching maybe in the cab from Dublin over to Leopardstown, about a 25-minute cab ride, maybe a little bit more traffic right now, is they have individual betting parlors outside near the railing of the course itself. And it really is individual. It's not, you don't have a DraftKings board. You don't have a track-specific board where here are the odds for the race. You can get different odds on different horses with different people out there because they all have individual licenses.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the people game the system out here to find the best odds that they can get, which is all appropriate for a Redemption Thursday. It couldn't have been any other day of the week that we were out here for this particular event but a Thursday, because horse racing and gambling go together like Guinness and Dublin.
That is 100% correct, and I've seen some Noles walking around. There have been a few here already, which is good to see, and I think some more will be making their way out into the evening here because they've got good food, they've got drink, they've got a band, they've got a lot of things you can do beyond just the gambling on the horse race. But you're right, that is an awful lot of fun to do as well. Here's a couple Noles right there. There you go. We love it. Okay, should I go right to it? Should I lay bare the wagers? So I also wanted to point out, and I think either later this hour you can decide. I haven't figured out what we want to do with that yet. We do have our Brent Key and Jamal Haynes interview that we did up in Charlotte, and I think today might be a good day to run that interview. So I think that'll be in the second hour. You'll get to hear me talking to Georgia Tech head football coach Brent Key, who I sat down with, as I said, in Charlotte I thought he was direct. Listen, Brent is an intimidating guy. He's a big dude. He's a guy that was a really talented offensive lineman at Georgia Tech. He has brought that mentality to Georgia Tech. They led the ACC in rushing last year. They had a winning season. I said yesterday on the show, I think they'll be a better team this year than they were last. The problem is the schedule may not bear that out. But I do think that this will be a bit problematic for this defense because they have an identity. And they have a very mobile quarterback. And that's where we start with the wagers, everybody. Here we go. Right. Here we go on a Redemption Thursday. I'm going to lead the season off with a prop bet. That's how we roll these days. You ready? You're not going to like it.
I'm not going to. Okay, first of all, let me say, Director Matthew, let me make your job a little harder back there. Either wipe up a lower third or a little ticker at the bottom as you get these.
Yeah, so you'll just have to put these in here. But I got this yesterday, so it may have changed, but I don't think it has. And I would probably encourage a lot of you, if you're into this sort of thing, to maybe take a look at this. You got a guess on it?
I'm not going to like it. So is it about a Georgia Tech player?
It is.
Okay. Is it about a Haynes King rushing total?
It is.
All right. Let's hear what it is.
I'm going Haynes King over 37.5 yards rushing in this game against Florida State. He has to do that if they have any chance to win. He's going to have a big day on the ground, in my opinion. And I think they'll ask him to run the football in this game. It changes the math, as we talked about. We well know we had our own Jordan Travis who caused nightmares for people. Haynes is fast. He is a talented runner.
Yeah.
He's not world-class speed or anything like that.
But he's elusive.
He's elusive.
He can make a guy look foolish in a one-on-one. He just doesn't run away from you like a Jordan Travis would when he was our running quarterback.
Well, let me give you this. This is the reason I did it. Beyond the fact that obviously Haynes is a kid who had a lot of rushing yards last year, over 700 of them if you look at the yards without the sacks taken away.
It goes over 800
to
do that.
To do that. It's an impressive total. But remember, Castellanos ran for 95 against us, even though we did a good job of bottling up Jaden Daniels, especially in the second half. He still had 64 yards rushing against us a year ago.
Yeah.
And it should be noted that the Drones kid at Virginia Tech kind of had a coming-out party running the ball against us last year as the quarterback position. He had 80 yards rushing in that game against Florida State.
Well, and in those games, we were content to let that happen as long as we didn't get beat over the top with the arms of these quarterbacks. And Daniels had a good first half, don't get me wrong. And there was one fortunate play where he missed a deep receiver. This was the last play of the third quarter, I think, before he threw the interception to start the fourth. But generally speaking, we're okay with the quarterback racking up a few dozen yards, 60 yards on the ground, as long as it's not for scores. And so I like the play. The question is, if we do bring him down in third and obvious for 2 or 3 sacks, that's where that number becomes in doubt.
I thought that number would be higher. I also saw an alternate number that you could have at 50. You could get it if you go over the 50-yard rushing total. I think you get that at plus 180. So I'm looking at Haynes King over. I'm thinking about over 50 and going with the plus 180 because of the better odds.
Yeah, so he's got, obviously you got a few things to think about. Design quarterback runs, scrambles, and then sacks. That's how you arrive to these numbers. They're going to give him the opportunity to make so many decisions. I mean, everything they do about counter, everything they do about RPO games, he will keep it. And sometimes they just straight up call his number to keep it.
Well, the touchdown against Georgia where he goes in untouched, it's really well designed.
Yes. Yeah, it's on a jet motion to the left.
It's on a jet motion to the left. And then, you saw his long runs. Well, he had a couple big plays against Miami. He had a couple big runs when he had to have it in really their biggest games.
Yeah, his second touchdown, he had 2 against Georgia. So his second touchdown runs, jet motion to the left. It's a fake speed option with a counter element to it. I mean, it is really a crafty offense. I'm not going to be like I was yesterday talking about how much I enjoy the offense. Y'all get it out there. But at the center of it is this quarterback, and he's going to have enough carries to get over the total you're talking about. So I think it's sound logic on that pick, 1 for 1.
Right off the bat, your boy comes strong with an over 37.5 yards rushing on a prop. Hey, this isn't about making people's feelings better. I'm trying to win some games here. I've really tussled with this. I talked earlier in the week, and we did it on the Warchant report. And I hated how early we had to record the Warchant report because we were all getting set to get on a plane and fly over to Ireland. And so it was a situation where, we were kind of scrambling. And Aslan reached out and said, hey, can you do the Warchant report today with me and Corey? I was like, sure, I'm happy to do it. But I'm always uncomfortable picking a game 10 days out, 13 days out before because you're going to ruminate on the game and you're going to start looking at every aspect of what a team is or is not in a football game. You're going to look at certain numbers and certain players and certain settings and certain schemes that either work or don't work against this type of a defense and vice versa. And by the time you get to Saturday when we're doing the pregame show, you have a much better idea because you've immersed yourself in all the video. You've immersed yourself in the offseason reports. What kind of reports were we getting out of Georgia Tech? I could go back and find all of that, consume that information, and create sort of an outline of what I think the game is going to be, to tell the story of the game, as we like to say in wagering.
Right.
And last year, I was fantastic, quite frankly, at picking scores. No, I was picking scores. I was.
Yes. Oh, no, that is verifiable.
Going away. And so here's the thing. A lot of that has to do with that process of leading up to the game. That's Saturday. I'm not saying it'll happen again this year, but you do get a feel for your team the more you play. You do get a feel for what everybody is. Week ones are hard. Yeah. Week ones are really difficult. That is a long-winded way of me telling you that I've had a change of heart on this football game.
You think the total is going to go higher?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. The more I began
to beat the clock is the game you're playing.
Yeah, the more I looked at the game, the more I started to focus on the game. I was obsessed with the idea that both teams want to run the ball, and I think they do. I was obsessed with that because that means a running clock, constant clock. Tick, 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 tick in the run.
Yeah, even an empty possession takes 4 minutes off.
Correct.
If you get a first down or two.
So I thought the shortening of the game would be the reason that you would wager on an under of 55.5. But I am now going to take a look at that total again, and I'm going to go over. Georgia Tech averaged 31 points a game last year, over 425 yards of offense per game last year. They're probably better on offense this year. They return their offensive linemen. Yeah. Their quarterback is in the second year of the program. The other thing that I would point out is they've got their two top receivers back. Haynes King himself is back. Jamal Haynes was an over 1,000-yard rusher who you'll hear from today on the Jeff Cameron Show. He is back. The key components, offensive line, quarterback, running back, receivers, are all back. Mm-hmm. And I got to believe for a team that averaged over 420 yards a game last year and 31 points a game, that they ought to be somewhere in that neighborhood throughout the course of this year. Tougher schedule, so we'll see. And I'm not saying they're going to get that against us, but that's who they were. That's a snapshot of the offense. And you look at that. Now, meanwhile, what weren't they on defense? Any good? They weren't any good at all on defense last year. And FSU's offense goes against this defense that, oh, by the way, gave up 31 points a game on defense last year versus FBS opponents. They've had a hard time getting stops consistently. So let's just presume for a moment that they're a little bit better than they were a year ago defensively, especially against the run, where they put the onus, shifted the onus, made some changes in personnel, made some changes in the coaching staff, did some things to obviously address that. We know, because we've watched the process happen at Florida State, that no matter how good a coach you are, if you're transforming a program, you do it by steps. Mm-hmm. I thought last year Brent took the biggest step, which was to have a competent offense for the first time in years.
With a clear identity. Everybody knew the assignment.
Year two, year 2.5 for him, really. Year 2.5 is basically, can we get this defense to be functional? Well, functional is not great. Functional is not dominant. Functional is functional. Well, maybe they will be functional, but when you go from 128th against the run to, say, 77th, nice step forward. You're still 77th against the run. Florida State's offensive line is its strength. 6 running backs we like. Yeah. They've got the onus, as I just said, with Georgia Tech. Florida State's doing the same thing. They want to run the ball. So I don't know that defense is going to get a lot of stops. And at the end of the day, I can see this being pretty high scoring. I kind of flipped the script in my head. I'm going to take the over 55.5 for this game as my second bet.
It's interesting. I understand why. And, and the more I watched Georgia Tech, the more I understood that, they're returning everybody who's key outside of one offensive lineman. They lost a tight end to a season-ending injury. But everybody knows what they're supposed to run. It's much like Florida State last year on offense when they were healthy. Jordan's back, Trey's back, the offensive line, Johnny. I mean, you go up and down the list. There's a couple of new players, and they're game breakers. Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell. You think that those guys might be game breakers, but everybody else knows where to be. And that's half the battle for install. It's like, well, I don't have to worry about the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Now Florida State's going through the basics, but Georgia Tech is not. Georgia Tech doesn't have to worry about that. Install is only getting into opponent-specific stuff because they're veteran-laden. My one worry here, though, is that when push comes to shove, and this is a hard thing to predict, it's like predicting turnovers, I get it. I do feel like we're going to be a very good red zone defense. And so if you get some 3, not 7s, that's when you're going to run up against that total and you're going to have an issue is red zone efficiency.
I got no problem with the pushback on the over because my original pick was the under, and I had incorporated a lot of what you just talked about. I think we're going to be very good in the red zone. We've got size, and we can eliminate a lot of that. I think we have really long and talented corners. I agree with you, but I feel like in the first game, some of that quarterback rushing for Haynes King is going to hit. And we're going to get gashed on some plays. We did a year ago against rushing quarterbacks. Let's be real honest. For a very long time, I got so tired of analysts pointing out that Florida State's defense struggles with athletic and mobile quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, man, that is every single team in the country. Now, some have more trouble than others based on that level of athleticism that you possess on defense. I get it. And certainly we've been susceptible. You give to get. On defense, you decide you're going to take certain things away.
Correct. And it sounds like, again, Adam Fuller telling us that, look, we don't want to have to commit extra people near the line of scrimmage because we want to run what we want to run on the back end, which tells me they're okay with keeping things in front of them, which can lead to yards. I'm not calling them empty yards because yards matter. And
that's why I took the over on the yards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm going to protect myself in case the over on the total's not there. I got the over on the yards.
I'm not saying that they are a default bend but don't break defense. They got a chance to be dominant. They do. But Adam Fuller's telling you this scheme is unpredictable enough that I'd rather have my people back to assess what is happening and then attack from there, not come up and kind of guess which, and I'm going to bring pressure from this specific area. It's too multiple. The decision-making is too late. It's post-snap by the quarterback.
When I gave you those numbers for the quarterbacks that ran on us a year ago, people cringe because they hear that and they're reminded of how frustrating that is. There's probably nothing more frustrating than having the play properly diagnosed as a defense and everybody fills their assignment only to watch a guy elude the first tackler and scamper for 17 yards on 3rd and 9.
Sure.
It's the worst feeling in the world, but it happens all the time. It's part of football, especially when you have a mobile quarterback. It is a pain in the ass. It's something that changes the math of football for your defense. Haynes is one of the better ones we're going to face all year long in terms of being able to run the football. So I went over there, fun bet there, 2 props, really basically, not 2 props, 1 prop and a total bet. I also threw in the mix here a few others. We get a game, Tom, that go ahead, Director Matthew. Feel free to use whichever one of these you want to use. You can even run the siren if you feel the need to do this. I couldn't help myself. Montana State is the number 4 ranked FCS team in the country. Okay, now you got to know this about Montana State. This is an elite program at the FCS level, everybody. And they are taking on a program that would not be described as elite in the FBS level. That's New Mexico. Anybody know who New Mexico's coach is this year?
No.
I'm here to tell you.
Bob Davie.
Bronco Mendenhall, who's the modern Bob Davie. Bronco Mendenhall is the new head coach at New Mexico. 25 years ago, folks, Bronco Mendenhall was the defensive coordinator at New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Many moons ago when he was first starting to coach. So Bronco Mendenhall comes in to take over New Mexico. And, man, does he have heavy lifting to get to. This New Mexico program is dreadful. In looking and researching the numbers for my bet.
Boy, I love this pick already.
Where I take an FCS team against an FBS team. I wanted to see just how bad New Mexico was. And, brother, they're terrible. And it's like when it rains, it pours for New Mexico fans. I don't know how many of them there are. If they're listening to this, they're telling me to shut up. But here
Lobo
you go.
Nation, right?
Here you go, New Mexico. You lose all 5 of your offensive line starters from a year ago. You might say that's a good thing because they were awful. But I can't imagine replacing all 5 starters for a program that lost double-digit games is a healthy way to start the season. I don't think it is, right? And then in addition to that, I looked at what are their defensive numbers on the other side. They gave up over 35 points a game last year, did New Mexico.
So you're saying they're not good.
So a couple of things here. They didn't do anything well. I couldn't find a single thing that New Mexico does well. So, guys.
Well, they participated in all games that were scheduled.
That's correct.
They showed up.
Here you go, everybody. this is the best part. Redemption Thursday is allowing me to kind of set you up to get your weeks going, all right? To zero in on some teams that maybe are off your radar in the offseason. And New Mexico would certainly be off your radar in the offseason. But that's why I'm here, guys. That's why 27 years of broadcasting experience and gambling bonanzas that we've had on the Jeff Cameron Show over the years have led me to this moment where I roll out for you an opportunity, perhaps an ATM rocking chair sort of moment.
It is my sincere hope that perhaps the state of Montana is your new Utah, because you have owned the state of Utah and
Utah
wagers.
State, Utah, yes,
yes, you have.
Yeah,
and that's going back probably 7-8 years that you've owned the state of Utah. But maybe there's a little bit of an expansion out there.
The problem with them is they're FCS, and they're going to be huge favorites against everybody they play in the FCS for the most part, unless they're playing North Dakota State or something. But that's where we're at with this. Anyhow, I'm laying what am I laying here? I'm laying 12.5.
12.5.
You know, I blew this, by the way. I blew it. I got to be honest with you. When I first saw that number, I believe it was 9. And I was just like, I don't know. It's first week 0. Whatever. Today, when I started doing my research this morning, I went, you dumbass, you should have laid that 9. Oh, man, I went the wrong way, guys. I'll still lay the 12.5. Give me Montana State to beat New Mexico. And that wager is in the books as well on the first Redemption Thursday. I did something else, by the way, while we're at it. I've got some totals for the NFL before we get through this last preseason game.
You're talking season win totals?
Season win totals.
Okay.
Got some season win totals that I'll get to in a minute. We got to take a break. But I also went ahead and did this. Give me Jaden Daniels to win NFL Rookie of the Year.
Nice. Love the pick.
Went Jaden Daniels to win NFL Rookie of the Year. I also went over on Washington's total. I think Washington's going to make some noise in the division. Give me Give me Jaden Daniels as the Rookie of the Year. People are focusing on Chicago. They're focusing on a lot of other guys.
I'm telling you, I agree. When it got down to you play the game before the draft.
Yeah.
What quarterback am I going to ride with? Who do I think is going to be successful? I think it's Jaden.
Well,
I just do.
You know why you had to wait? You had to wait on these Rookie of the Year bets because coaches this week were making announcements as to who's starting and who's not.
Right.
And once he was announced as a starter, I think he's the third rookie starter that was given the go-ahead at quarterback to given the reins.
Yep.
But once I realized he was going to be the starter, I thought, okay, well, now I like it. Now I like it.
The number on it.
I got to double check that. I didn't write it down in my notes. I know I took on the app.
Yep.
But I will say this too, really quickly. It's kind of fascinating. You look at the Jaden Daniels pick, and the more I look at the NFL in general, you got a lot of rookies that are going to be in contention for this that are fun to kind of kick around. So if you want to have some fun over the weekend before the NFL gets started, go take a look at some of these numbers for Rookie of the Year. Okay. You got totals on Trey Benson. You got a lot of things that are out there that are kind of fun. We're at Leopardstown. That doesn't do you any good if you're in Tallahassee. You can't just roll on over here. That wouldn't help you at all. But if you are making your way over here and you're listening to the broadcast, we're tucked away out of the rain. We were going to be in the middle over there by the track itself, but the trophy is here if you want to get a good look at it.
They're taking it from us in the next hour.
Yeah, in the next hour, they're coming to take this trophy. I think they're fearful that I'm going to break it of some kind.
Yeah.
But it's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Live from Dublin. More in a moment.
The Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
It's summertime in Tallahassee, and it's gonna get hot. The last thing you want to do is your own yard work, so call the Lawn Johns instead. Here's what Linda had to say after her lawn service.
The Lawn Johns transformed my yard. Mark had excellent landscaping ideas and recommendations for the best plants for certain areas. The plan was executed efficiently, and now the yard is beautiful and full of color and variety.
Call the Lawn Johns today for all your lawn care and landscaping at 322-2567, or request a free quote online at thelawnjohns.com.
Howdy, folks. Jeff Cameron here to tell you about my friends at DexaFit Tallahassee. What is DexaFit, you might ask? Well, it's where you want to go if you're looking to elevate your health and fitness journey. DexaFit's exclusive services include AI-enhanced body scans, VO2 max fit testing, and RMR metabolism analysis to provide detailed insights into your body composition, cardiovascular fitness, and metabolic well-being. Sounds like a lot of science. but that's because it is the most advanced science available. In fact, that's a good thing, right? DexaFit gives you immediate detailed insights about your body composition, provides a customized plan to improve on troubled areas delivered in an easy-to-navigate mobile app so you can share the information with your trainer or even your doctor to find the most direct path to your peak health. Check out DexaFit Tallahassee, the most accurate and most state-of-the-art body composition scanning and fitness planning available. Located on Capitol Circle Northeast, directly next to Bumpus. Check them out online at DexaFit.com and tell them Jeff Cameron sent you. DexaFit Tallahassee. Know your body and transform your life.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Knowles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle End.
Equal housing right. NMLS number 373031.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
Jeff Cameron Show broadcasting from Leopardstown here in Dublin, just outside of Dublin, I should say. And it is a perfect day for us to have a little moment of quiet with the trophy behind us. Don't get me wrong. Loved it at the old storehouse yesterday, day before. We'll be back over there tomorrow.
It's going to be
absolutely had a blast.
Packed tomorrow.
It is going to be packed tomorrow. It was packed yesterday.
Yeah.
But this is nice to kind of be off away from we were going to get rained on. We were over there more in the center of what's going on here. But we're in the old stables, as they said. And yes, it's absolutely perfect. So good times on a Redemption Thursday. We'll get to some questions if you want to, by the way. Throw them out there. We haven't really done much this week with that. We haven't had the opportunity. But yeah, not as many wagers for the week 0 Redemption Thursday as you would normally have. But some. And I laid those out there before. I also mentioned the win totals in the NFL were some of my bets here as well. And I put those actually in my notes on the way over, Tom, in the cab. Doing it up here.
We don't have no audience today. We have Spartan 71 sitting before us right now.
I didn't say no audience.
That's right.
I didn't say anything about that. No, we've had a few people walk by, and most of the people are in there gambling. But
and they should.
The loyalty of this fine gentleman right here is well appreciated.
He's not been asleep for 2 days.
Yeah, he hasn't slept in 2 days. He flew in from Hawaii. That's a warrior is what that is. Commanders over, Saints under, Seahawks over, Giants under, Cowboys under.
Interesting. The Saints one, that's I like that pick.
Yeah. It's fun to root against the Saints.
It is. It's also going to get harder in this division. Atlanta's going for it. I mean, you're seeing all the moves they're making in their secondary. They get 2 outside sources. They got a safety in a corner. They just signed Terrell today to an extension. I mean, they're
40,
going for
what was it. 40 million?
No, it was 80, 67 guaranteed or 63 guaranteed.
I must have been looking at an ancillary number. I don't know what I was looking at.
Well, you could have been looking at one of the others. But the extension today was for 80 plus and 60 plus guaranteed. But that's what you do. If you go get that quarterback, it's what the Bucs did with Brady. It's what the Rams did with Stafford. If you go get that quarterback that you believe is going to put you over the top, man, you have to go all in for a short-term return, and that's what Atlanta's doing. So I like that pick for New Orleans because the division just got a little bit tougher because I think the Bucs are going to be fine this year too.
Yeah, question in there from Justin was last segment you're saying have a rolling bet against New Mexico every week. I'm saying check those numbers frequently is what I'm telling you now. Right now we got it as a paltry 12.5. I don't know what it'll be when they start playing FBS foes. I mean, it could be outlandish.
I meant to look up see if Bob Davies still kicking.
He is. I think he
Yeah.
retired recently. He was coaching again. He might have been in New Mexico,
I think
or San Diego State. I can't remember which.
in New Mexico State.
But yeah, maybe that was it. But by the way, I got another one for you. Did you see what happened to poor Delaware State flying out to Hawaii?
No.
Well, here you go, buddy. You won't be surprised by this.
Delaware State.
So they're taking on Hawaii. It's a trip of a lifetime for those kids, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, Delaware State is not any good at all. They're awful, and this is going to be an ass-kicking. There's no way around this. But it's a trip to Hawaii, and you get paid, and how cool is it for the kids? Yeah, it's cool until your bus breaks down and you miss your flight out of JFK, which is exactly what happened. I gotta give credit where credit's due. I was reading an article, and in the article, it kind of pointed out that it didn't make much sense that they were flying out of JFK because where Delaware State's located is closer to Philadelphia's airport.
Yeah.
And this person deduced that they must have got a cheaper flight out of JFK, so they chose to go JFK instead of Philadelphia, and they didn't get on the plane.
Closer to DC as well. I don't know.
Well, bottom line is they missed their flight. They're going to be hurried to go in. The line is now shifted by like 8 points more. Now
awesome.
Now it's like 40-something points.
Getting off the plane in their pads.
So you know what I did? I took a little Hawaii first half minus 24.
Oh, okay.
A little Hawaii
24.
first half minus 24. I think you may be able to find a 23.5. Now that's going to continue to tick up. Hawaii's next game is against UCLA. Big game.
This could be a trap opener, Jeff. You got to be careful on that first half number.
You got to run it up on them early in the first half and get your starters out. Tom Lang is what you got to do. So lay that 23.5 or that 24, depending on where you're looking. That's the other wager that I had there. So we did all right today for a week 0 Redemption Thursday.
This is good. Yeah. You told me on the phone, you're like, I might be trying a little bit here. No, these are legitimate picks.
I don't like picking to pick. I don't do it. It's not a good betting practice, first of all. You don't just pick games to pick them.
No.
You have to have an angle. You have to look at it. You have to have conviction of what you're doing.
I do indulge a few times a year, though. I'm bored. I want this game to mean something.
Well, also, in-game is for that.
Yeah.
When you're just sitting there and maybe you didn't have it in the game or before the game, and now it's 2nd and 7, you're like, no, I'm going to say that he throws.
Yeah.
That is fun when especially with your buddies. But the problem, I don't know. You guys answer this in the chat for me. And Tom, you may be able to answer it too, because I think you had this service. I did not. I asked this question at the end of last year. I have not circled back to it. So I'll ask the listeners now, because you guys are great about this kind of thing. Again, gearing up for the season, a lot of reading this morning over coffee. I was thinking about changing services. I currently use Hulu. And
I thought you were talking about betting services. You can't, man. This is Hard Rock.
No. I currently use Hulu, and I've got Amazon, and I've got Peacock, and I've got, it did not turn out any cheaper to cut the cord. We were all wrong about that. It didn't get any cheaper at all. We probably should have just stayed with the damn cable. Not that I work for a cable company, and they were annoying too, and it was a monopoly and everything else. But here's what I've discovered. So I'm thinking lately about going and getting the YouTube TV thing.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
It's very good.
It better be. Because when you go to YouTube TV and you try to bundle the service for all the channels,
you get the extra sports, the 4K,
right?
Yeah.
And then if you want the NFL Sunday Ticket, which if I switch to YouTube TV,
you're gonna get the ticket.
Why wouldn't I?
Because you don't need it.
I think you kind of need it. I want to watch all the games. I want to watch whatever game I want to watch.
All right.
$750 can go to hell.
Is that what the ticket costs now?
total with the YouTube subscription, and if you want Red Zone, and if you want, I don't care as much about Red Zone. Actually, Red Zone annoys me, but
that's interesting. Yeah, see, I like Red Zone for the 4 o'clock window because there are fewer games to choose from. So if there's 4 afternoon games, 2 are going to be duds, 2 are going to be good.
But
take
with
me
the
to the 2
YouTube,
good games.
But with the package, you can pick 2 at the same time or 4.
Yes, and they did not have that last year. They had organized multicast options. And what they would often do is, let's say that you've got a game that's 8 o'clock on Fox and you also want to watch the one that's on ESPN at 8, they wouldn't pair those 2 together. You couldn't watch. It was the most annoying thing in the world. I think they finally, you can do custom multicasts now. But that service was great. And also the 4K options were good too, because the Saturday night ESPN game, which is now an SEC game because of the new contract.
So you guys are loving I see it here in the chat. You guys are loving the YouTube.
Yeah,
TV.
it's good, man.
But what I'm talking about is I'm going to have to pay, like the NFL bends you over. They have just decided. They just decided.
In all ways.
Well, they just decided you'll pay whatever we tell you you're going to pay.
That is correct.
Think about this. I knew this was going here. I knew this was going to happen. A lot of people read this article, and there have been a lot of opinion pieces about this. Like, this is an astronomical fee to pay to watch the NFL.
That's correct. You just go to Corner Pocket, man. It's cheaper.
Yes. You put me in a bad position here. I'm not going to disparage the Corner Pocket. It's a long ways from my house, for starters, okay?
Yeah.
I have no willpower, so you know what that means.
Right.
And then secondly...
for me, Sunday is my day I let go because it's been a stressful week.
Yeah. So the problem is that's really not viable for me unless I'm going to do that every Sunday.
Right. Well, there's not every Sunday that you have there's a slate that you're interested in, at least for me.
I'm interested in every game.
There are some
obvious reasons.
Like, oh, dear God.
Don't get me wrong. There is park your ass Sunday, park your ass Saturday weekends.
Yeah.
But I'm just letting you know that you can be interested in any NFL game.
Yeah.
And for very obvious reasons. And so I'm looking at getting it. But
so you're going to get it is what it sounds like.
Probably. But you guys are saying I should switch from Hulu and get the YouTube TV.
I wholeheartedly, without being paid by YouTube TV, say it's excellent. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I got all the movies and all that stuff, everything I need.
No, you don't get any.
So I got to have all the separate. See, this is what's wrong.
Yes.
Look at this. I started looking at it. This is insane. You have to watch.
This is why you got a password share. No, you got to have 3 friends, and you guys just trade. Some Hulus, some Maxes.
How have they not banned that yet? I mean, geo-tracking makes it impossible. Right? They're going to catch you.
Some of them have gotten it. Like the ticket, there's no way. But I'm just saying, like you go grab the Peacock, and they go grab them. The Max.
Yeah.
And,
I have the Max. I have the Peacock. I have the Amazon. I have the Apple.
Really?
I have all of it. You have to. Well, the NFL has a game on Amazon. The NFL has a game on regular network television. They have it on ESPN. They have it on NFL Network. They have a game that if you don't have the NFL Network, you have to have it. They have a game Amazon Prime. They have a game on Netflix. 2 games on Netflix this year.
Yeah.
You have to have a gazillion things if you'd like to see the NFL games on Christmas and the other days. Like, it's stupid what they've done.
That's why I would just go to a bar because they know that they have to buy it all. So I might as well just go to the bar that has to do all that, and then I'll pick my weekends where I'll just watch the game that's on television, the Bucks at 1 o'clock, and then I'll have Red Zone on TV too because it'll take me to the important stuff.
I can't stand what's his face. I can't do the Red Zone.
Scott Hansen.
He's annoying as hell, and it just bothers me to no end. Also, they're behind. They're always way behind. I don't like it. I don't feel like I'm actually watching a game. I don't feel like I've figured out how we arrived at this place. It's like fantasy football heaven.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
Yeah, but see, for me, usually the 4 o'clock window is when I start to get my nap in. And so I know, like the first half of the 4 o'clock games is when I'm enjoying that's my relaxing time. Then the second half, you tell me what's important, Scott Hansen, in the 4 o'clock window because they will. They'll put on the best games in the second half. That way, I don't have to have them kick it over in the first or second quarter to Seattle at Arizona. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Have the second part ready here, Tommy. Ethernet, Cat6, fiber optic, and coax cabling. Crown Network is your source for the entire installation process, including wireless services. Make sure your home or office has a reliable and steady network with Crown Networking. Before your network's down, call Crown. Tallahassee, that number is 850-999-0090.
And the second part of that is I see the horses parade before the next race, which is beautiful to see. Crown Networking this week, if you sign up, and we thank them so much for helping facilitate this trip over to Dublin. Thank you very, very much to our friends at Crown Networking who've just come on board. You sign up this week, there will be a donation made thanks to your purchase of their services to the Seminoles Fund. So over at Florida State University, they've got funds for different things, but the Seminole Fund itself will be contributed to by Crown Networking if you sign up for their services this week. Thanks again. The reason we were able to do all of this multicasting that we do, YouTube TV, the radio back home, is thanks to our friends at Crown Networking.
And that way you get to hear me bitch about the cost of having to have 47
I mean, you're
things
not
at once.
wrong.
It's ridiculous.
That's why you don't need the ticket, though.
Ridiculous.
You don't need the ticket.
I need the ticket. I like to have
You just
everything.
need to get with Director Matthew on how to get the ticket without having to buy the
these
ticket.
kids are thieves.
Yeah, there he's thumbs it up.
The kids are thieves. They found a way to cop everything for free.
Yes, they
Movies that just come out, everything. It's amazing. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, live from Dublin. We're at Leopardstown Racetrack. If you're in Dublin, what are you doing? Get in a cab and come over to Leopardstown. We'll be back for more in a moment.
The Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Your local news now.
Rocky Hanna secured a win against Star Swain in Tuesday's primary for Leon County School District Superintendent. Hanna will now face off against Joe Burgess in the November election. Hanna has served 2 terms at LCS Superintendent since 2016. In a statement, Hanna expressed gratitude for the outcome of Tuesday's race. In other election news, U.S. Senator Rick Scott has handily won Florida's Republican primary against 2 other opponents, moving on to face Democratic former U.S. Representative Debbie Mucarsel-Powell in November. And Neil Dunn has secured a win against challenger Rhonda Woodward in Tuesday's primary for race for the 2nd District GOP primary. Dunn is seeking his 5th term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He has been endorsed by former President Donald Trump, and his platform focuses on immigration, inflation, and the fentanyl crisis, among other issues. Dunn is projected to face off against Democratic candidate Yen Bailey in the November elections. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies expected. Highs level up around 85. East winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 70. Highs around 87 tomorrow. Slight chance for storms. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean? There was
Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some yellow jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
Let me very quickly get you caught up here. You know, the last 2 days we've had the opportunity to reflect a little bit on practice and reflect a little bit on, you know, what was happening back in Tallahassee for the last couple of days before they made the flight over. Decidedly less for us to talk about as it pertains to Florida State in any kind of action. I'll just tell you this. They landed. They're here. You guys probably know that. You have social media. And there's video of them landing in Dublin. A lot of Florida State fans were arriving at the exact same time, which I thought was pretty cool for the players to come off the plane and see a bunch of Noles arriving. Yeah. And pretty cool for the fans, too, because the players made their way over to anybody wearing the garnet and the gold and took pictures and hung out. It was really nice. Dublin at the airport in Aer Lingus, these folks have done an amazing job. I will give them a lot of credit. I've talked to people who've been all over the country, including my best friend down South Florida who landed in Dublin and then immediately went out to Kilkenny and a bunch of other places, ended up in Galway.
What did Kenny do to them?
And so they're back. You know, they're getting back. But everybody has said it's gone off without a hitch, which is nice to hear. And so the Noles are happy folks right about now. And now it's just, can we get to the game? I'm starting to get antsy.
Yeah.
I was excited you're excited when you first land. You're excited about the final finishing touches, but now I'm ready to play football. I'm really, really, really curious to see what this team is.
I am too. But you know, their phrase and their slogan for this particular event is it's much more than a game. And it's been very cool. I feel like this trip, just on a personal side, has been a lot of work with a side of Dublin, you know, for the experience.
Oh, this trip is different.
This particular one, it's not like a pure exploration trip.
No.
But it's beautiful here, man. The people are incredibly friendly, and I'm not ready to leave that yet. So to your point, I understand from a football standpoint, it becomes an echo chamber from the end of camp when they start to install and they get to scout teamwork. You know, that signals the end of camp where jobs are on the line and there's desperation for every rep and things like that. So we're getting closer to kickoff now. And to me, you know, that side of it is I'm tired of the echo chamber too. We've talked about the receivers. Okay, I get it. They need to prove something.
Yeah,
we've talked about that, you know, linebacker is going to be put under strain by this offense. We get it. I want new information so that we can have a better idea of what this team is. But then the other side of it is I really like it out here. You know, the game can wait another day.
I'm not rushing.
That's no problem.
No, don't take it the wrong way. I'm not rushing to get out of here at all. I just want to see the game. I wish the game was tonight. I wish we could finish this broadcast, walk in and watch the football game, and then stay 3 or 4 more days.
Well, on the back end,
it would be ideal. But you know, I mean, this is the frustration where you have all of the anticipation. We were fortunate, obviously, to see all these practices, and you get to a place where now, you know, we know who's what. At least we think we do, against each other. What are they against an opponent? And I there's so many times where you lay your head on the pillow at night and you're thinking about the game, because I do that. The closer we get to games, I start playing them in my head. Here's how I think this is going to look. Here's an area that I'm concerned about. This is an area that I think we can exploit. Here's something I'm very excited to see FSU do. Mm-hmm. Here's something I'm worried the other team is going to do.
Yeah.
And when you play that little game in your mind, you know, I've got 3 different ways I think this thing can go, but it's silly because on the one hand, Georgia Tech is, you know, this is a team that's got a long way to go. You talk about proving something. We talk about all the guys that we have to see prove something to us at wide receiver. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, you're thinking, can we compete on the line of scrimmage? Can my defensive line, because they can, their offensive line absolutely can. It's one of the best offensive lines in the nation. But you're asking yourself, if you're a Georgia Tech fan, well, I know we can run the ball, and I know we've got a good offensive line. I know our quarterback is mobile and pretty good, and da-da-da. You're asking yourself, Florida State's veteran offensive line is considered to be one of the best offensive lines in the country. They've got a ton of game experience. Are we going to be able to hold up? Are we going to be able to stop the run? A year ago, they could not against average teams, let alone ones with good offensive lines. So,
to me, you know, just looking at our defensive line and our defensive front against their offense, you know, if I didn't believe that this was a really good defense, I'd be very worried about this game, because this is not a team this is not an opponent who has pride that has them trying to step outside of what they are. They know their identity. They're going to stick to it. This defense better be good on Saturday. Like, they better not lay an egg, because if they do, Georgia Tech's not going to help you by making too many mistakes. King can throw interceptions. I got you. But if you don't do what our primary goal is, he's not going to have to throw the ball into trouble very often, because they're just going to want to run it. If they get into 3rd and 4, I think they're going to run it. And again, that's another thing where you're watching different strategies and how much an opposing coach will respect you and what you are as a team, and the danger level of coming away with 0 points or punting or whatever. I'm interested to see Brent Key's 4th down decision making. I'm interested to see in 3rd and 4, is he calling a run to set up 4th and 2 or 4th and 1? And at what part of the field will he do that? How aggressive will he be at his own 40? How aggressive will he be at midfield or over midfield? That's all part of it here. And that would be situational concerns. But if this defense wasn't good, I would be genuinely worried about this game. I think it's not a shoo-in. The result's not a shoo-in. They got to show up and they got to play because this opponent knows what they are.
The pressure is on whom? I'm not talking about the winning aspect. The pressure is on whom? Who's the guy, coach or player, that's under the most amount of pressure in this game?
DJ, I think.
So it's funny because I originally said DJ too, because I think that there's enough there that you're going to have opportunities. You're going to have opportunities to make big throws, big plays. I think because I do think
they're going to sell out to stop the run.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I couldn't decide. Do I go with DJ for this answer, or do I go with Benson for this answer?
Yeah, that's fair. Here's the thing: you could argue if you're trying to eliminate DJ and pick Benson. The good thing about his experience last year is he played in bad Pacific Northwest weather.
Oh, DJ did, yeah.
DJU, which is if you're trying to eliminate him from who's the pressure on, man, he's seen conditions like he's going to see on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it could be a mixed bag. You could get a little bit of a gusty thing. You get a little sprinkle of Irish rain. Like any of that stuff can happen in the low 60s. Maybe the feels like temperature is high 50s by the time you get into that second half. He is no stranger to playing in those conditions and executing throws.
He's been in big games, yeah, without question.
At Oregon State, hell yeah, they played in bad stuff.
Yeah, that's why, again, Benson's a guy that we think will go out and really perform well. He's got an awful lot of talent. That's how you end up at Alabama.
Yep.
But he, again, to repeat myself for the umpteenth time, has never had to do it. Now you got to do it. Saturday, you got to do it. Now you got to go be the guy. I think we may get surprised by somebody too. I think there's an outside chance that, maybe Darion Williamson or Kentron Portier have a big game. And it would be such a breath of fresh air for those young men who have overcome a lot in terms of injury and having to wait their turn.
Because to your point, I think they're going to be open because of what Georgia Tech is going to set out to do. Brent Key has talked ad nauseum in the two scrimmage press conferences about how good the defensive line has played, how much they've competed. I think their statement to themselves, not to Florida State, but their statement to themselves is, we're going to stop the run with greater consistency than we have. And obviously it's hard not to, but that's going to be goal number 1, 2, and 3.
Jeff Cameron Show, we got another hour to go. That's a good thing on a Redemption Thursday when you're broadcasting live from Dublin and Leopardstown Racetrack. We'll do it again next hour. Hang in. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. It's time.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Crescent, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Phillies edged the Braves 3-2 yesterday to even up the series at one game each. The Braves a slight favorite today, minus 112. It's Spencer Schwalbenbach on the hill. It's Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies, minus 108, 8 over the total at Truist Park. Jeffrey Springs to the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, $1.25 road favorite at Oakland, plus 105, 8 under at the Oakland Coliseum. NFL preseason football tomorrow. The Jaguars laying 7 in Atlanta, 35.5 the total. Tampa Bay Buccaneers plan to play their starters when they close the preseason tomorrow at Raymond James Stadium. Buccaneers laying 3, 37.5 the total against the Dolphins. Bet smarter with Juice Reel. It's free in the App Store. Juice, R-E-E-L. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
It's the perfect time to get a jump on fall style at Macy's Ultimate Shopping Event, where you'll find incredible savings on the wardrobe update you need. Shop great looks you can wear now and later, with an extra 25% off designer brands that rarely go on sale, and 15% off your favorite makeup, fragrance, skincare, and more. Get ready for your best fall yet. Today at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Howdy, folks. Jeff Cameron here to tell you about my friends at DexaFit Tallahassee. What is DexaFit, you might ask? Well, it's where you want to go if you're looking to elevate your health and fitness journey. DexaFit's exclusive services include AI-enhanced body scans, VO2 max fit testing, and RMR metabolism analysis to provide detailed insights into your body composition, cardiovascular fitness, and metabolic well-being. Sounds like a lot of science, but that's because it is. The most advanced science available. In fact, that's a good thing, right? DexaFit gives you immediate detailed insights about your body composition, provides a customized plan to improve on troubled areas, delivered in an easy-to-navigate mobile app so you can share the information with your trainer or even your doctor to find the most direct path to your peak health. Check out DexaFit Tallahassee, the most accurate and most state-of-the-art body composition scanning and fitness planning available. Located on Capitol Circle Northeast, directly next to Bumpus. Check them out online at DexaFit.com and tell them Jeff Cameron sent you. DexaFit Tallahassee. Know your body and transform your life.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090. 999-0090 or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
Gentlemen, let's pick some games on this special Redemption Thursday live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, broadcasting live here from Leopardstown Racetrack in Dublin, just outside of Dublin, I should say. They're coming to collect the trophy.
Yep.
One last look, everybody. Take a look at it right here. This evil man is going to take this trophy from yeah, it was nice to have it here behind us for the first hour of the program. It's going to make its way to its rightful place now.
They don't want it on a mantle in Tallahassee, Florida, at a house near us.
Well, we load up the equipment. Oopsie, it's my Waterford trophies fitting in the bag here. Yeah, good times. Redemption Thursday wagers last hour, got to them. They were posted up. I can revisit them momentarily. In fact, I'll do that real quick for those of you that didn't get to hear it. We started with the prop bet Haynes King over 37.5 yards rushing. I took Montana State. That's right, FCS, Montana State. Number 4 ranked FCS team in the country. To drub New Mexico and gave the 12.5 points there. Jaden Daniels to win Rookie of the Year in the NFL. I also took what else did I take there, Tom? Am I forgetting one?
You had NFL overs. Did you hit all those?
Oh, yeah. My bets on
Washington.
Yeah,
New
over.
Orleans.
New Orleans under.
Under.
Yeah,
yep.
Dallas under.
Okay.
Washington over. Seattle over. I forget. Yeah, I think that's about right. Maybe Steelers under 2. I gotta double check that too. Not 2, but under as well.
I'm glad to see they've replaced the trophy for the game on Saturday with Miami's ACC football championship trophy. Look at that thing.
There it is.
Look at it.
There. There they are. Bountiful as oh, look at that. Nothing. I didn't get to any questions last hour, and it's a relaxed kind of Redemption Thursday today because there's no Knoll news. They landed safely. They're all good. They're excited to be here. I know that. Some of you have been asking about uniform combos and all that. First, let's start with Marcus. He wanted to know, do we have a season final W's and L's? We do. And it will take place tomorrow on a Libations Friday from the old storehouse where the atmosphere will be festive and we will be sky high about that W's and L's. It's the last one before we get underway with the season. And
stay true to yourself. It'll be tough in a room full of Knolls that are feeling very good.
Oh, it's really easy to go 12-0 when you're in a room full of Knolls and you're all pumped up. But I don't think, obviously, that's going to be the case. I don't think we're saying 12-0, neither one of us.
No.
I don't think so.
Spoiler alert.
Trisha wants to know, you may have addressed it already, but is there concern about the field? And then she asks, do we wear cleats? Yes, we wear cleats. The field.
Yeah, I've seen mixed reports.
Okay.
So Ralph told me today that it's going to rain on Saturday now. I've seen that it's going to be fine on Saturday. But it's Ireland. So you're going to have variable conditions.
Yeah, the mists will be here.
The mist will be there. And then also, obviously, there's going to be some gusty conditions as well.
But let me say this. This is my fear. Now, I've watched the last few of these.
You're just going with the, international rules. All right, we're back. This is on a different audio source, so keep it loud for the people while I fix it.
Oh, you're fixing the roadcaster, right?
Yeah. So you're on the air.
Okay, we got a weird set of circumstances here. We got unplugged by accident, and we're gonna have to redo the roadcaster here real quick. As far as the field goes, it has been my experience every time I watch an American football team travel. They end up having a hard time on a field, whether it's really anywhere in Europe. I don't know that that'll be the case tomorrow or Saturday. I was down on the field last year, and it looked absolutely perfect. It was stunning.
Back on the headsets.
Makes it a little easier here. Okay, are we good to go?
They kicked the plug when the damn trophy kicked the plug.
But yeah, so last year I was down there on the field, but we were not allowed to sprint on it or try to run routes or anything like that. They weren't letting us do it. We were throwing a football around, but we were not allowed. They really, really, really keep that sucker neatly trimmed and all of that. It's in pristine condition. I don't know, but here's the thing, though, Tricia. I'll answer your question a little bit more succinctly now that we're back on the air. I'll just say that they've got various lengths of the cleat that they can change.
That's correct.
So if they experience any problems on that first drive, the players will come back over. First of all, it'll be visibly, you'll see it.
Yeah.
But secondly, players will know, like, okay, this is not working. We need to change it up. And it's the same for both teams, so we'll see. Nobody has an advantage with that. Swiss writes, I saw Georgia Tech's helmet design with the cloud there. Yeah, that's that swirl Irish design.
Irish pattern.
Yep, Irish pattern. It's beautiful. Are we also going to wear something a little different for the occasion? No idea.
I'm not aware of anything. They might roll out, because I know that there's media availability tomorrow for Florida State, so perhaps they might roll out the uniforms at the press room. But Florida State typically puts out their uniform information pretty late in the week, so mostly on game day itself. But since it's going to be a kick at noon local time back in the East Coast, maybe they'll roll it out tomorrow and show what they're going to wear.
I can't decide what I want them to wear.
We are the road team.
We are the road team.
You're not going to not wear your gold helmets, first of all.
Of course, that's a given. You're going to wear that. I don't even consider anything else there. But there's a rumor that we're going with the all whites.
They look good.
Which are beautiful, and they'll really look beautiful on that bright green grass, that dark green, that earth tone that's so beautiful there, that emerald green, if you will.
Yep.
But there's a part of me that's, I love the regal look of the when we wear the garnet pants with the white tops.
In the modern, the modern uniform looks better with the garnet pants. I think the older uniform looks better with the gold pants, the one from the championship year.
Keith wants to know if we lose to Georgia Tech, do we bench DJ? Roll out Brock. Can't see us winning the league if we can't beat Tech. Well, the only thing I'll say to that is sometimes you get really weird outcomes in week 0, game 1 overseas. I mean, I don't know that it would be a fair indicator of what the team is going to be. It would feel like the sky is falling if you lose to Georgia Tech right out the gates after having an undefeated season last year. It'd be hard to stomach that, but I'd have to see how it played out. First of all, I don't think that's going to happen as far as them benching DJ after one game. I don't think they would do that even if he played terribly. He would have to string together several poor performances before they would go to Brock Glenn. You don't bring a guy in, quite frankly, in the modern parlance, pay him what they're paying him, which is not astronomical, by the way, but it's not nothing. I mean, it's
a starting quarterback NIL deal.
Yeah. So you don't bring that guy in so that you can bench him and then put Brock Glenn in week 2.
Not in week 2.
No. Now, I wouldn't put up with too many poor performances. You do have a season that you try.
If you've got 3 losses in November, maybe at that point you need to start having a conversation. But you know what? I don't think we're going to have 3 losses. This isn't W's and L's, but I don't think we're going to be in that position. So here's hoping.
I would really want to see how we arrived at the result. Was there a bunch of turnovers? Did we fumble the ball? Did we do stupid things in the red zone? The way you win and lose games, obviously, I always talk about this. Wins and losses happen for a reason, and they elicit emotions. And you have to discern those reasons and figure out, all right, is this a problem that's going to plague us for the rest of the year? Or is this solely just a fluky sort of situation? We've seen one-game situations where a team plays way over their head or way below their abilities. We know that as well. That's a tough question for me to answer as far as Brock goes. I don't think they want to have to play him just yet. Justin, if you think our defense is better than last year's group, you think we will have – can you read that?
You think we'll give up more than what we gave up to LSU in the opener last season, which was all first half laden stuff?
Do we think that our defense is better than it was last year?
Yeah, I think that's the more interesting question. It's almost like that's implied.
No, I think our defense is a top 20 defense. At the end of last year, they were a top 10 defense.
They're top 5. I'm talking about,
Florida,
the way they
Louisville.
Played.
The way they played. Yeah, the way they played. I think they can be as good, if not. I don't know if they'll be better. It's tough to say they're going to be better. You might. Boy, that's a good question because we don't know about Marvin. And we know what we're getting from Patrick Payton. I've got faith in the interior of the defensive line, the starting interior of the defensive line. I feel good about that. I don't know about the linebackers just yet. The one thing I will say, for all my complaints about linebackers, they had two really experienced players. So the floor was raised with all the experience that they had at linebacker last year.
Yeah.
They weren't elite linebackers, as evidenced in the draft. But they were good enough. They were good enough, right? They were so.
No,
I think tough call.
I think this defense has a chance to put together. No, I think it's this guy.
No, it's been off. I've had it down on mute.
Okay, understood. Why would that have sound feedback? I don't understand. I think this defense has a chance to be top 10 if their plan on staggering the defensive tackle rotation works. If their plan on staggering Farmer Jackson is successful because Grady Kelly and Daniel Lyons elevate their game, and you have a four-man rotation, I think at that point the defensive line becomes dominant, and that sets the tone for turnovers. Because I think this is a better secondary in terms of ball hawking.
I agree with you on the secondary. It's the one area and they were good last year, but I think they're going to be better this year. Now that said, I don't know that the linebackers will be. And I don't think the defensive line will be better than last year.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to be better than last year. That was crazy how good they were, especially the second half of the season.
I agree. I wholeheartedly
There's no
agree.
Brayton Fisk out there that I'm looking at that it comes in and changes who you are. Grady Kelly's not that.
No, but I like the idea of not having your studs together for 60 snaps and then doing a wholesale change for the other 30, or 20. I like staggering that out because those two guys on their own, Farmer and Jackson, can be game breakers, and that sets the tone for everything else. I do think this group, it's again hard to predict turnovers, but I think these guys, Azaria wants the ball. He's a two-way player by nature. He attacks the football. There are guys who defend, and their number one goal is they want the football to hit the turf, not land in somebody else's hands. Then there are guys who are saying, I'm going to try and score. And Azaria has that mentality. Fentrell's looked better in that regard.
We have not had somebody who makes those kinds of plays consistently. We haven't had one in a while. We had good corners.
Yeah.
Obviously, that also showed in the draft. We had good corners, but we haven't had playmakers at that position that changed the scoreboard in some time. It would be refreshing. If this team is as good against the run as we think they should be, you're going to have a lot of teams in 3rd and 5 or longer. You're going to win this by keeping people behind the chains, and you've got opportunities now if you trust the other safety. I think we trust Shaheem.
Yeah.
But do you trust the other safety to be where you need to be?
That's where the other part of the defensive line helps. Is if they are dominant and that rotation is deep enough, then safety play gets a little bit easier. But if they don't get home, then you got problems.
Lee wants to know whether or not my mom will be making NFL picks again this year on Friday. She will be. She's the defending champion. I was going to push her out.
That would have been something.
She beat me.
I don't want to play anymore. Yeah.
Is that my man, Mark Davidson? Say hi to Glenn Hansard for me. He's just hanging around Dublin, right? Hey, Mark, by the way, just so you know, Mark is fantastic. But his bar is not far from where we are. The one he owns. He owns
Mark Davidson?
No, Glenn Hansard.
I know.
Glenn Hansard. That'd be, if Mark owned a pub, that'd be something. We'd be there now. But no, Glenn Hansard owns a pub not that far from where we are. And I am told that he randomly walks out and plays for folks. And I would love to be there on a given night where that happened.
Maybe
but
tonight.
I think he's touring the world, however, right now. The last
okay.
I checked, I think he's out on tour doing his thing. But thank you, Mark. Good to hear from you, brother. Is Georgia Tech wearing their usual white jerseys for home games, or are they wearing gold? They unveiled, right?
Yeah, so they've got the Clada.
Which we saw. Yeah, I don't know. It's
they're
funny.
They're the home team. My guess is gold.
It's so funny that what we concern ourselves with. I mean, I get it. I mean, we're all excited about.
You want to visualize, I'll try and find out. But
Ira loathes uniform talk. He always has. And I always thought that was funny because every man I know who watches college football, professional football, sports in general, really loves uniform talk.
And that's interesting to me because
you got it.
No, the Georgia Tech hasn't posted on their social what they're wearing. Ira has the Orioles. He had the Baltimore Colts. And obviously he changed NFL affiliations because the Colts left.
Yeah.
He's got some of the best uniforms in sports, some of the best logos in sports, some of the best colors in sports. I would lean into that. If I had badass uniforms, I'd want to talk about uniforms because my team has some of the best.
Yeah, and Florida State does.
That we do.
Florida State does, and that is one thing that if you're talking to anybody who's even remotely objective, there's no chance that they'll argue with you that Florida State's uniforms aren't awesome. Yeah. They may argue with you about whether or not you think they're the best. I think they are. But
you get fewer arguments in 2013. We're slowly getting back there.
Remember when the discussion of our uniform, not the Oklahoma State game, which was the travesty of all travesties. Yeah. You remember how angry it was that you and I would walk around and talk about how these practice uniforms are the best uniforms we have?
Yeah, they were. And now their practice uniforms look like practice uniforms.
They ruined the practice uniforms.
I know they did.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, live from Leopardstown, back from Board of Bowman.
The Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan and Infinity. We're offering a very unique opportunity for Seminole fans. My brother Peter and I teamed up with the Theater Sports Network to give Seminole fans an opportunity to get a game day experience during the Ireland game without leaving town. The live ESPN coverage of the game will be played on select screens at Tallahassee's CMX Cinemas next to Costco, giving you a chance to cheer along with a theater full of fellow Seminole fans. We simply want to give back to the area for your years of support at the Kraft Brothers dealerships. So we're hoping the big game on a big screen will create an at-the-game atmosphere. It's easy to join in the fun. Come into Kraft Nissan to purchase tickets, no strings attached, or sign up to win one of our daily drawings every day through kickoff for a free pair of tickets, or buy a car and get free tickets. CMX Cinemas will be fully staffed for the event, even bringing your favorite cold beverage to your seats. Doors will open at 10:30 a.m. to enjoy the pregame dining in the bar. Tickets cost $50 each and will benefit FSU's Rising Spear NIL. But remember, seats are limited and only available at Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive.
Falmer's end of summer super sale is going on now. Through the close of business on August 31st, we drop prices on many of your favorite items. Save at least 30% on every TV, every bike, and all tools. Save 25% on car stereo and computers too. And every piece of jewelry, rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants, everything marked down at least 50%, some items as much as 70% off. But hurry for your best choice. The end of summer super sale is happening now through Saturday, August 31st at both locations. Falmer's pawn, gun, sales, and check cashing, more than you might expect. This is Alex from Falmer's. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Falmer's buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Falmer's for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Falmer's is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Falmer's, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Tallahassee is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, McClay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
Florida State and the ACC met, as we know, for mediation. They did so back on August the 13th, and they did not settle, Tom.
Judge Cooper, I mean, that's part of the process. You must do it, and Judge Cooper was big on it. He's like, I can find you a guy who helps you with mediation.
Yeah, but I know we were also hopeful.
They'll come to a number when they're ready to come to a number.
Yeah, the sarcasm is that we all knew that nothing was going to happen with that mediation. Unfortunately, settlement talks are set to continue, though. The two parties filed a joint notice of mediation compliance earlier in the week in Leon County Court, stating that they will, quote, continue to discuss. News comes 2 days, obviously, before this game. Also, source told On3, according to NACO's, earlier in the month that the belief was nothing had changed in the relationship between the school and the conference, despite entering the court-ordered mediation. Florida State, obviously, as we know, is seeking to get out of the ACC and avoid some of the egregious exit fees. Attorneys previously estimated that it would cost upwards of around $500 million to buy out its rights back and leave the ACC. Quote, listen, it's disappointing we're in this place, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said in an interview earlier in the week. It's a harmful situation, but we're going to do just that. We're going to fight, and that's the way it should be when you sign an agreement twice. Willingly sign it. You're part of a group that comes together and decides this is what you want to do for the next 20 years. You should be held accountable for that. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. Some of the legal conversations, some of the dynamics around these cases has taken away from the ACC. I'm really looking forward to having that discussion too, because most attorneys that I've talked to said that that number would be considered to be far too punitive and that there's no way it would hold up in court. So I agree with you, Jim. We should really have more discussions about this.
Yeah, this almost sounds like it's on a Thursday, a Solving for the Future segment with our friends at ISF, because we're talking about the future.
Well, let's go ahead and do that with our friends at ISF, who have been longtime collaborators with the Jeff Cameron Show and obviously working with folks in state government to help make their job and life a lot easier, more efficient, etc.
I would say that ISF.com is the place to go for more information. You're also going to hear a very excited Irishman calling the latest horse race in the background, which is unbelievably entertaining.
So it starts slow like this, but it builds to a crescendo. This is a huge track, by the way.
We almost might want to be quiet when he gets to that point and just let the people hear.
Yeah, if they can hear it. Let's if they can hear it.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it starts as a library read, and then it's down the stretch they come energy. It's fantastic. I think the $500 million thing that Florida State put out there, they calculated, they showed how they arrived at that number, but they're setting the goalpost, and the other goalpost is nothing. So now it's a matter of, if they said $200 million and you're free and clear, would we do that tomorrow?
We would.
You think so? $200 million?
We would
includes
have
exit fee, like it all told, $200 million.
Without question. I think they might do it for $300 million. Now, how you arrive at that, how you arrive at the ability to pay that and leave is a very complicated thing.
Yes.
And it's actually a boring subject for us to get into here. But I would tell you that in the – here he goes.
I have no idea any of the words he just said.
I also think somebody's winning going away, because that was not as
he had one day that, I was in tears. It was amazing.
But back to this for a second. I don't – it's complicated. I don't think they want to have to use private equity firms or anything like that.
No.
I don't think they want to have to do any of that.
I agree.
Now, that would be a last case scenario where you'd say, okay,
it almost sounds like private equity is going to be more for the conferences or the new league than it is it is individual programs.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of discussions about how you would ever be able to do it. I've told that they could because they know that it's death to remain here long term.
Yeah, sure.
So you'll do whatever you have to.
Look, man, I know that Florida State has, when you look at the board, there are some tie-ins there with PE firms and so forth. It's almost like letting the mob in on your restaurant. And I know they're saying there's no interest. We're fine. No, man, you don't get private. People don't put their money in a world with private equity. These are people who are going to get their cut. Now, whatever that cut is moving forward, you might need to make that deal. I'm not saying don't ever make the deal with private equity. You might need to make the deal to get where we need to go. Understood. But I think they don't want to use that as a first resort, or else they already would have done it. They could have the capital to cut a $500 million deal if they wanted to with private equity. If you bring them into the fold, sure.
They could have, yeah. And those people, as you've noted, didn't get really rich doing what they did
to their credit.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I think that's the emergency lever that if you need to pull, you do. But like we were just talking about now, this is the very frustrating part about this discussion. Solving for the future, we could have done this segment a year ago and been correct. It's about what's the number, and it's about what Florida State deems to be the number, and at what point do we get there to where the ACC says, all right, fine, $320 million.
The biggest push that I wanted to see was, would they declare their intentions legally? Would Florida State do that? When they did, I felt like we were in for a dreaded stretch of let's hurry up and wait.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst feeling in the world. It's like people who race to the red light.
My cabbie today.
So the whole point is, there was this time there where the whispers grew louder, where Florida State understood its plight and was going to, at some point, let everybody know that they planned on getting out of here by hook or by crook. They were going to find a way to try to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, then we remember the famed Board of Trustees meeting on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We remember Peter Collins. We remember all the things that were said.
It's impossible.
Okay,
yeah.
So once that happened, I felt like the news surrounding this, the significant news surrounding this topic, had already been made. Then you enter into a legal battle.
Yeah. But it does. There was one more level where it gets interesting as to what the president will say, because it's on the record.
Yeah.
Like, these words are going to be documented for this story in sports history. And how do they choose to attack it? And that was that December meeting they called just before Christmas, when I remember the special broadcast y'all did. Like, how is Florida State choosing, instead of let's speculate about we can't compete? No, we're addressing the issue. We're looking into the camera. How do we choose?
We've hired a law firm.
Right.
That was their answer. Yeah. So they hired a law firm. So then at that point, you knew their intentions were made and they were following through. And I thought that was the important thing, because I was tired of the talk. I was tired of all the whispers behind the scene, because everybody knew what they knew. We all knew this. And so it was finally time to take action. And they did. This was the part that I dreaded, though, because I knew, because lawyers will tell you, and they all did, that once this entered into court, especially two different courts, two different suits, you thought, okay, well, maybe the most interesting thing that can come out of this is, does anybody else jump on board? Well, Clemson did. Took them a while, but they did.
Yeah.
So once that happened, that was the next significant news item involving this battle with the ACC. There was one more somewhat significant development, and that was when certain higher ups at North Carolina seemed to be interested in what Florida State.
The board is the board is not in line with the athletic director.
That's correct, and there's a battle going on there. So there was that. But as far as hearing anything of substance about what Florida State's future is throughout the course of this upcoming football season, I don't think you're going to get anything. There's going to be nothing once these games get started.
So I think I agree, but the important thing here is, what Florida State did reveal, and I remember we talked about this the next day after they revealed what they did, about the ACC having, it's not assured that this thing's going to run until 2036.
Right.
Nobody knew that.
Right.
They thought it was a grant of rights through 2036. Not that ESPN could re-up for the last 9 months or 9 years. And I remember I said to you, man, if that's fake, if we're making that claim and that's not right, the ACC is going to pound the desk and say, no,
we're
locked in.
Right.
But they never made that claim. And so you're finding out through their silence, oh my God, ESPN has a look in. ESPN has
Which
a look
is 2027.
That's when it would kick in, but the decision has to be first quarter next year.
Yes,
I believe it's first quarter next year.
Yeah.
So, we were looking at in the summer, and we got all these questions on Warchant TV and on the boards about, what about August 15th? No, that doesn't matter. The settlement can happen whenever. It's going to be a settlement, we think. Nobody believes that this lawsuit stuff is going to go the distance in both states.
No.
I don't believe that. But to me, the pressure point now would be February 2025 or first quarter 2025 with the look-in and the re-up. Because don't you think if Jim Phillips could have, in Charlotte, when you were up there, gone up to the podium and said, we are so proud to announce that ESPN has exercised its option to extend the deal for 9. Don't you think he tried as hard as he could to have that be what happens in the commissioner's forum?
Yes, he would have loved to have done that. I thought it was telling that all he could do instead was talk about, and he did so glowingly, talk about the wonderful progress they've made in their discussions regarding the extension.
Right.
He couldn't give you any other specific than, I mean, that's a vague, sort of ambiguous, hey, you know what? I'm really proud of the conversations we're having. Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're proud of your conversations. That doesn't mean a damn thing.
Correct.
That's just you letting us know that you haven't got what you wanted yet. And so the only thing you can do is to satiate that, because you know you're going to be asked about it, is to say, oh, we're having very, very progressively better conversations with you, whatever that means. Okay,
Right.
Well, no, you either do or you don't. It's either happening or it's not. And he couldn't say that. So, yeah.
And why is ESPN waiting this long?
Because, yes, well, they're waiting on the schools, too. They're trying to figure out if their two best assets in the league are going to be gone.
Right.
Obviously, that affects the value of that contract immensely,
Right.
And the number changes dramatically.
That is the new wrinkle. Like if you're talking about, most of these talking points have remained the same since Florida State had a board of trustees meeting. I agree. But that's the new pressure point, because Florida State up and revealed that. I had never heard that.
Yeah. That just changed the date by which something interesting could happen.
But pressure points help force settlements.
Right. They certainly do. This all stems from what I just started the segment with, which was that mediation didn't solve anything.
Right.
Everybody knew in the moment that they were told that they were going to have to go to mediation, that it would likely not come to fruition, that the deal would be worked out. The ACC cannot give in here.
No, it's got no choice.
So this is why this was always going to be a bit of trying to move in molasses type thing, because if Florida State or Clemson, both, whatever, find their way out of this conference for whatever dollar amount, they don't have to stick around till 2036 is the point. They can leave, and it could be $400 million, $500 million, $600 million, $200 million. We're hoping it's less. They hope it's more. Got it. But if there is a way out, if that light is shined on the path to leave the conference for whatever that number is, the ACC is in dire straits at that point.
Yeah, it's an existential crisis because North Carolina is gone.
Because the death of the ACC as it's currently constructed is underway. In the moment.
Yeah.
Clemson will leave, Florida State will leave, North Carolina will leave, several others who could see the writing on the wall will leave. You have a very aggressive commissioner in the Big 12 who's looking to pick off anybody he can that is fleeing the ship. They would probably, I would think the Big 12 would try to go after a Louisville or any of those other teams that aren't going to get into the Big 10 or the SEC, and they would grab those teams up. I certainly would bet on their commissioner over ours, over John Phillips.
Well, and then also network presidents.
Or Jim Phillips.
Yeah, network presidents are the other part of it. And that's where the ACC can feel however it wants to feel. But if ESPN says we're not so sure and we're getting into December and January, they might want to take a deal from us. They might want to take a deal from Clemson.
Well, and you and I had a conversation about this not long ago with somebody kind of in the know, and I can't reveal anybody else, but our part of the conversation was, okay, let's say, for argument's sake, that Florida State ends up in the Big 10. That was not something that I considered for a very long time. I thought for the most part, they was always going to revolve around back to ESPN deciding to pluck those assets and throw them in the SEC and not allow Fox to stick a flag in their backyard with two huge names, two brands that would absolutely change the dynamic in the discussion, right? So I thought, you know what? The Big 10 might want Florida State and Clemson. The Fox might want, that's a better way of saying it. Plenty of school presidents in the Big 10 don't want either. Got it. But I don't really care what school presidents want. This is about the networks.
Neither do the networks.
Right. So the networks, so as we were talking about, the network would probably be like, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to aggressively go after these two. Now we're coast to coast. We've got something in the South. We got something on the West Coast. We're in the Midwest. We got everything. All right. I always thought that in that moment, ESPN would crumble and be like, okay, well, no, we can't let that happen. Let's grab them. I am considering that maybe that's not true now. We've heard enough in the way of rumblings that perhaps the Big Ten might actually make that move, or Fox might actually make that move if they can see the window by which to do it. But right now, nobody can do anything.
Yes, correct. I don't even think if ESPN wanted to do as you say that they're in a position where they can, because they would undercut their own partner and they would get sued to high heaven by the ACC, saying you're robbing us to help your other place.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul. But here you go. Though what you and I talked about though was that if you're the ACC and the writing's on the wall and you are going to lose these assets, and ESPN decides not to renew and the whole thing, wouldn't you then? Because I think they did a good thing by getting SMU. That was a really good get for the ACC.
Yeah.
Stanford doesn't matter. Cal doesn't matter. They do in the real world, but they don't in football. So here you go. The SMU.
It's got a chance.
It's got a chance because of the market and because of the money and because of the investment that they're making. Okay, so long term, you project out 20 years, SMU might be a legitimate power in football again. The way they once were before they were, quote, banned for life.
They won't be Boston College.
Right. They certainly won't. And they care, and they're aggressive. They got a good coach right now, and they got a good team. All right, so we'll see what happens. Wouldn't you then, if you were the ACC, if you lost to Florida State, to Clemson, and who knows who else, wouldn't you go grab like a USF if you could? Like a Tampa market?
Yes,
you can't get UCF. They're already but
no, you have to think like Conference USA used to. I mean, that is the decision before you, which is why you're fighting tooth and nail for now. And my thing is, I think when Florida State reaches whatever agreement it needs to in order to be a free agent, it's at that point that all networks involved will want Florida State. But we're not there right now. So everybody can pound the table and say that, well, nobody wants Florida State. No, man, there are legal hurdles, tampering, lawsuits, liabilities. All those things are hampering this process. What will be interesting, though, is let's say that there is, and this is hypothetical, but why not? Let's say we get into 2025, that look-in period begins and ends, and ESPN says, no, we're not renewing the ACC. So the ACC is what, looking for another television deal at that point? With a new network?
It would very much look like what happened to the Pac-12.
I would think so. And at that point, if you're Florida State, you could just say, well, in 2028, we're a free agent. Well, we can save our pennies on a settlement for now and just ride it out with a good schedule that we got for the next few years. And, maybe that's the way to go.
I guess
I would prefer to get out sooner and make more money sooner, but they got to do some math at that point.
Long and short of it seems to me that, by the way, we're going to be here obviously this year, and I think we're here next year. I think we're in the ACC again next year.
Can we play Alabama and Dublin? That'd be fun.
Wow. Nobody's giving up that home game.
No, absolutely not.
But, man, that would be fun. Hey, I wish we could come out here every year and play a game. I mean,
we should be the Jaguars. But the thing is, we're not giving up. I got to be consistent.
Yeah, can't give up.
It's a roadie.
Mm-hmm.
So Boston College can host this game next year. And Syracuse can host this game.
Absolutely. ISF.com to learn more from our friends at ISF. That would solve for the future. Just start rotating opponents' home games here.
Right. We submit that this year is the Syracuse
Hey, let's see here. Syracuse, you're hosted in Ireland next year. Shut your mouth if you don't like it. I don't care. You're Syracuse. You're going over there. You're going to FSU. You want to play there again? Yes, we do. All right. Don't mind.
Wake, your fans don't even care. They're just like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, you get 1,500 people.
I got other stuff to do on a Saturday anyway. Go.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, broadcasting live from Dublin Leopardstown Racetrack. Back for more in a moment.
The Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Your local news now.
The 15-year-old girl who was seriously hurt in a car accident last Wednesday has died. The teen was a passenger in a car with a 17-year-old driver who swerved to avoid rear-ending the car in front of it, causing a multi-car collision. The crash left the teen driver in critical condition. A man wanted for attempted murder is behind bars after an armed carjacking on Monday. Devin Jurger, 29 years old, is accused of stealing someone's vehicle at gunpoint on Palm Beach Street Monday afternoon and leading police on a high-speed chase. The 29-year-old was initially wanted for an attempted murder charge stemming from an incident that happened last week. TPD said they chased after the stolen car where Jurger hit another car. The crash did not cause major damage and no injuries were reported. The stolen car continued to flee into a rural area of Leon County, where Florida Highway Patrol joined in on the chase. Police then hit the bumper of the stolen car, causing it to crash. The man was arrested after the car crashed. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 85. East winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 70. Highs around 87 tomorrow. Slight chance for storms. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawns.com. Right now, 86.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping.
Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps.
Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors.
And we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless.
Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And,
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
We were in Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show here in Dublin at the Leopardstown Racetrack. I interviewed Brent Key. I had a chance to interview the 1,000-yard-plus rusher, Jamal Haynes, as well. Both of them here we put together for you today because we're not sure when we're going to be able to run it tomorrow. Let's listen in. Georgia Tech head coach Brent Key joins us now on the Jeff Cameron Show from Charlotte. Coach, first of all, thanks for your time. I know it's a busy day, but it's also an exciting time, kind of the start of college football, really, when you look at it this way. But you guys get a chance to go out to Ireland. What does that mean to you and your team? Obviously, an early start. Probably feel rushed a little bit, but at the same time, excited to head over that way.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not like one team's more rushed than the other. We're on the same schedules. I know Mike, we've talked and we're reporting tomorrow, practice is Wednesday. So the schedule really is the same, from here on out as we get ready to play in the game. But it's exciting. It's exciting to play the defending conference champs. It's exciting to go play in a different place, to be able to take our brand of football, American football, overseas and expose more and more people to our game.
You had a chance, I'm assuming, to go over there already. I know they did that with Florida State as well. And the folks in Ireland, I went last summer as well. It's in preparation for this. Are excited about football. That stadium will be packed, of course, and it seems like college football and pro football over there is growing.
Yeah, it is. Going over there and just seeing the excitement, but still seeing the knowledge that people are trying to gain and acquire about football, not understanding and being a culture that's come up around Gaelic football, rugby, soccer, those sports. Now to have American football come over, it's still a learning process, and but they're so hungry and eager to learn and find out more and more about it.
You guys winning record last year, obviously get it turned around. I just had the good fortune of talking to Jamal, great kid, over 1,000 yards rushing, your former offensive lineman. Obviously, you love to see that. You guys got the run game going. The offense turned the corner there. Only thing that I would ask there is that it turned the ball over a little bit last year. Without that, this offense probably continues to grow. Your thoughts on protecting the football, I suppose, and then also adding to the successes you already had last year?
Yeah, I thought, running backs did a nice job of protecting the ball. They did. We had a couple that were, untimely that we would have back. I remember the one Jamal had last year. We were talking about it on the plane this morning, actually. But when it comes to the turnovers with interceptions, that's something collectively as a team. That's not all just on the quarterback. Receivers have to fight for the ball. Quarterback, obviously you get hit from the backside, as you're getting ready to throw. you can't do anything about that. So it's a collective effort all around that we have to get better at, and then understanding situationally within the game, when to take risks. There's a lot of great quarterbacks that have had that throw interceptions because they take risks, but they have to be the timely risks and understanding 4 minutes to go in the first half isn't necessarily that time, but you get 2 plays left and you're playing on the road at Miami. You take that shot, and that's where we continue to grow, and our football team will continue to grow.
You brought it up. I got to ask you about it. It was one of the most amazing plays I'd ever seen. Have you ever been a part of a situation like that where, under 40 seconds to go, no timeouts, and they're not taking a knee? Are you thinking in your mind, this isn't happening? And then what did you think when you saw that the ref signaled it was your ball?
Well, you play all the scenarios out in your head. You prepare as much as you can. You play the scenarios out, and when you get to that point in the game, you're just trying to force a turnover. Yeah. You're trying to force a turnover, whether it be a turnover on downs, trying to make them kick, getting a block, an all-out block, or a fumble. In that case, we ended up getting a fumble. Look, at the end of the day, it's not about what the other team does. It's about how our team goes out and plays every play, because they very well could have given up and said it's over, and not continue to play the way they did.
How do you, when you talk about Haynes and interceptions, but at the same time he's a playmaker, he makes all kinds of plays for you guys, how that's a tough fine line, I would imagine, to try to instill in a young man that, hey, I still need you to be the playmaker that you are. I still need you to make plays for us at the same time. Let's dial it back here or there. How difficult is that for you to teach?
Yeah, well, you don't want to take away who they are. Right. And that's the fine line. And look, there's 2 positions on the field that I firmly believe, unless you've played that position, right, it's really hard to judge that person. One is quarterback and one is center. Unless you've had a 300-pounder lined over the top of you and barreling down, trying to snap that ball, it's a different deal. And same with the quarterback. When now that guy, that same 300-pounder is barreling down on you, got to make a play. So very fortunate that we've got some really good quarterback coaches on our staff too. We've got guys that are have played the game. I mean, we've got a Heisman Trophy winner on the staff. Who is as good of a quarterback coach fundamentally as I've ever worked with. It's funny, actually, me and him became friends at ACC Media Days in 2000. And, but you don't want to take away who they are as a player. All right, but to understand situationally, to understand when and the timing to take those types of chances, that's where that next step will take place with us.
It's funny, I covered Chris Winkie, and I've been doing this a long time as well, sir. And I was probably at that media day you just alluded to. I've been covering it for 28 years, covered Chris Winkie at Florida State. Wow. So, yeah, it goes back a ways. Let me flip it to the other side of the ball. You made all the strides on offense. Obviously, you got to do better on defense. You would admit to that. You've said as much. Where does it start for you guys? The inability to stop the run last year really, really caused problems for your defense. Talk to me about the changes that you think you'll see this year from that group.
Yeah, well, good news is only one place to go, and that's up, right? So, I mean, it's the most desirable job in the country, the coordinator job. It's brought in Tyler Santucci, who did a phenomenal job at Duke. He really did, and then you look at, teams that the common fan would probably say, oh, they shouldn't have been doing that, and they were. Well, I mean, you look what they did there and the way they played defense. In a combination of bringing Tyler in, but also bringing in Jess Simpson as the defensive line coach. Strong footprint in the South, in the state of Georgia. From 23-year high school coach at Buford to coaching the Falcons. Then at University of Miami, Duke. So. To be able to bring him in and the fundamental teacher that he is. And it's always great to bring, guys that have a background in high school because they're great teachers. And he's a phenomenal teacher. But we've also been able to elevate ourselves and help ourselves out a lot with the portal and bring some guys in and build depth. We have some guys that have developed now over the course of the last year. So to have the depth now to allow these guys to be able to play, top notch, 35-40 plays a game instead of trying to have play 60-65 plays a game. It's all encompassing. It all goes together. But I'm excited to see where we're going to be this year on that side of the ball.
Coach, best of luck to you.
Yeah.
I hope to see you over in Ireland, and be well. With Georgia Tech running back Jamal Haynes, good to be here with you. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. 1,000 yards, first one in 5 years. How proud are you to have accomplished that? Obviously, Georgia Tech moving in the right direction. Offensively, we see a huge turnaround last year. You're a big part of that.
Yes, sir. It's very exciting, especially coming from wide receiver straight to running back and rushing for 1,000 yards. But I feel like we still have ways to go. I feel like I still hold myself to a very high standard, and I feel like this is going to be one of those years where I surprise a lot of people in the ACC.
How hard is it to transition from receiver to running back? You hear about athletes that can catch the ball out of the backfield, but it's a whole other thing to take on the load and be a running back, go for over 1,000 yards. You did it seamlessly. How difficult was it?
Personally, it was a little bit difficult from the pass protection standpoint, but from running with the ball and just being a total athlete, being a guy that can get the ball in his hands and make something happen, it was really no big of a change. I played running back when I was in middle school and high school, so it really wasn't a big difference, but that pass protection is one thing you have to harp on, especially with protecting your quarterback.
Is there anything you didn't do at Grayson? I went and looked at your numbers, knowing I was going to get the opportunity to talk to you, and I was like, hey, led in receiving and rushing. I was like, is there anything this guy didn't do there? Did you play quarterback some too and do a little bit of everything, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Probably pride yourself on being a complete athlete then. And have you always been that way coming up? Junior football, all that, just played everything you know?
Yes, sir. My very first position was quarterback. September 12th, 2009, I ran for 3 touchdowns. And after that game, I just knew it was one of those things where I wanted to be very versatile at whatever position I was at. That following season, I got moved to running back, and there it was. That's where it took off, just being that versatile kid that a coach can really put at any given position on the field.
Did you always know you wanted to go to Georgia Tech? Obviously, Grayson's put quite a few people there. I've seen that. Did you always want to go to Georgia Tech?
I think I really started wanting to go to Georgia Tech my freshman year of high school. When I really got into cybersecurity, I remember 8th grade, I took a cybersecurity class where a lot of coding and whatnot. So my 9th grade year, I took another cybersecurity class, and that's when Georgia Tech became one of my top colleges.
My niece just graduated from Georgia Tech. That ain't easy, brother. You're doing some things now.
Yes, sir. It's not easy at all.
How are you able to balance that?
Honestly, through time management. You have to know when it's time to chill. You have to know when it's time to do work. And then you have to know when it's time to give your body that excitement or that little party that it wants to have. You have to know when to say no, honestly, sometimes. It's a lot of people in college that will lead you into the wrong direction, or a lot of people that will tell you, hey, let's go add this, let's go do this. But time management, being consistent and staying disciplined to the process.
You mentioned something that I find interesting. When you switch over to running back, obviously it's very important. In order to be on the field, you got to be able to block. Somebody might look at you from a distance, say 5'8", not a big guy, but you're able to do that. Talk me through that process as well, hanging in there at your size. And that's not a shot. I mean, just 5'8", 5'9", somewhere in there. It's got to be hard to do to hold up in the blocking game.
Absolutely. It's definitely a tough position to be in, but you have to have that mentality of nobody's going to step in your way or nobody's going to hit your quarterback. Just from the love of the game that I have, I always wanted to be that person that can do anything a coach asks them to do. So really stepping in and being one of those people who has a bigger heart rather than not saying, oh, I only want to catch the ball at the backfield or I only want to run the ball. Knowing you could step in and have one of those players that will actually block for you, I feel like it's something that I really take pride in.
How excited are you? Final thing. I had a chance this past summer. I'll be there again coming up in August to go to Ireland. How pumped are you to take it all in? And have you had an opportunity to go over there yet, or will this be the first time?
I'm very excited for this opportunity. I really feel like it's a great exposure, great experience, just for the ACC, but for the league as a whole. This will be a really great opportunity for both teams on that end. And then this will actually be my first time going to Ireland. So.
Do you get a chance to stick around after the game? How early are you guys getting there?
I believe we get there on that Thursday morning, and we don't leave to that Sunday, maybe like a little bit afternoonish. So we should have a little bit of time.
A little bit of time. Well, I wish you nothing but great health and the best of luck. Thanks so much for making time for us. You take care.
Yes, sir.
Jamal Haynes, running back Georgia Tech, went for over 1,000 yards last year. We saw Georgia Tech improve, winning record. Obviously, Brent Key getting this offense going. He's a big part of it. Until next time, Jeff Cameron Show live from the ACC kickoff in Charlotte, North Carolina. All right, that's it for us. That's it. That's all. Back with you tomorrow on a Libations Friday as we'll broadcast from the old storehouse yet again.
Meet and greet.
6 o'clock. For T. Lizzie, I'm Jeff. Peace.